I'd like to welcome everyone out for our Layton City Council meeting this evening, which is June 4th. Our start time is 7 p.m. As customary, we like to start all of our meetings with an opening ceremony involving a prayer and a pledge. We take turns each month. This happens to be a new month. So I'm going to turn the time over to Councilmember Thomas.
Since I'm so prepared, I'll give the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Our Father in heaven, as we come before Thee in this council meeting, we ask that Thy Spirit be here, that we might be able to do the things which we are responsible for, be able to do the things which are needed in this city, and to be able to have Thy guidance, that we might be able to make decisions that are right, make decisions that need to be made. We're grateful for this great country. We're grateful for 250 years of freedom and pray that we may have an additional 250 years of freedom still. We're grateful. We're thankful for the many things which we are allowed because of freedom. And we pray that we may keep it forever. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
If all will stand, face the flag. I don't see any hats, so we'll be okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you very much, Councilman Thomas. Tonight, before we get going on our agenda, I do want to acknowledge a special guest I have sitting here to my right. His name is Oliver Pohl. He's part of our youth council. And Oliver, would you like to say anything to this governing body at this time?
I joined the youth council. It's been like a really great experience. I've learned a lot of leadership skills and a lot more like how the government works, especially the local government. And it's been just a great opportunity to learn and grow and connect to more people around in my community. It's been fun.
Thank you, Oliver, and we appreciate you coming up here and experiencing it firsthand with the residents, so that's good. Okay, Council, are there, we'll move down to any municipal announcements. Mr. Thomas.
Turn on mic. Okay, this is coming from your Parks and Recreation Department. This coming Saturday, June 6th, Surf and Swim has a pre-summer bash, so I guess it's not summer yet. $3 entry fee, opens at 12. Highlights for the Liberty Days, 250-year liberties. You're encouraged to decorate your homes, red, white, and blue, and I assume the council will be looking for homes that are decorated. Prizes will be given. I don't know what the prizes are, but anyway, if you decorate your home, and that runs till, what, the July 31st? What's that?
Or businesses.
Oh, or businesses, of course, yeah. Businesses will give cheaper gifts. June 28th, it's called the Voices of Liberty. That's where we have our hometown heroes announced. And it's a program. It's a great program. It's on Sunday. And then Monday, June 29th, they have Threads of Honor at the amphitheater as well. The other ones at the amphitheater are 7. This Threads of Honor is at 7. And it's a patriotic concert. It says inspiring music, narration, guest speakers, and that the historic Challenger flag will be there, and they'll be discussing that. Then on July 3rd, it's a busy day. They have the Splash Bash at 5 o'clock at Surf and Swim. They have an all-star showcase for all the Little League All-Stars down at Ellison Park. Starts at 5:30. And then probably one of the greatest things that ever happened in the city. They're having a puppet show in the amphitheater. And then I happen to know the guy who wrote it. He's okay. Anyway, that's at 5:30 at the amphitheater. So bring your grandkids, kids. Bring your grandma too. She'll like it. And then on July 4th, of course, we have all our events. But one thing we want to mention is the flag raising ceremony starts at 8:30. And if you happen to attend it, then you can get $2 off of the breakfast that the Rotary Club is doing. They serve a breakfast from 7 to 10. And like I say, if you attend the flag raising ceremony, they'll give you a little discount card. Takes $2 off of 7. So if you got 10 in your family, saves you $20. Is that right? Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thanks, Mayor. This Saturday at Northridge High School is the Safe Kids Day event. This event is sponsored by a number of entities in the county, including Davis County, and then it runs to different high schools every year. So it will be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. over at Northridge. I know in the years past they've been giving out bike helmets and all kinds of safety gear, lots of fun things for families. So I encourage everyone to participate. And then just a reminder that the school district is doing free summer lunch. That started June 1st and it will go through July 23rd. The only 2 days they will not be offering will be Monday, June 15th and Monday, July 5th. But that summer lunch is for any child under the age of 18, Monday through Thursday from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And we have 2 schools in Layton where you can get that free lunch, and that's at Lincoln and Whitesides Elementary School.
Okay, excellent. Anyone else? Okay, I'll just make one quick announcement. Looking forward here, June 19th is when the state acknowledges what am I trying to say? Juneteenth. Juneteenth Day, the 19th on the 19th. So that's statewide. All the entities will acknowledge it on that same day. So for those of you that might be planning to go to the landfill, just know that that will be closed as well on that day. Okay. There's no other announcements. Then what I'd like to do tonight is I know that I'd like to go ahead and adjust our agenda once again. We'll be heading into our citizens' comment, but however, we have an item 7 on our agenda, which is unfinished business, and I'd like to move that up to prior to our citizens' comment. And so with that, I have again, another statement that I'd like to say. I know some of you were in attendance 2 weeks ago, but I think it's very pertinent here tonight again. And, I just want to acknowledge the fact that in just a few weeks, we're going to be celebrating the 250th anniversary of the founding of this great nation. And to me, it's a reminder that we're based on one principle upon which America was built, and that was the right of freedom of speech. We've given the citizens the opportunity to share their thoughts, concerns, ideas, and perspectives with the elected officials in both, and to me, it's both a privilege and an honor to be able to hear from our residents. So on behalf of Layton, I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to participate in the process, and know that this is one of the best things that we have to look forward to here. Myself, I can speak on behalf of the mayor, and that is engaging with our citizens, and I appreciate that. So before we begin this agenda item, I would like to remind everyone why we're here tonight. This meeting is to allow the council to have an open discussion, be full transparent, and the opportunity for them to share their perspectives regarding the proposed off-leash dog park within the East Ridge Park. This is just one step in a larger process that we go through of listening, evaluating, and engaging with our residents. So as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, there's passion on both sides of this topic. Many residents who live adjacent to the East Ridge Nature Park have expressed concerns regarding traffic, safety, the impact of the dogs being off-leash, the environmental impact, legal issues, wildlife, the maintaining of the nature area. And, so I just want you to know that we've heard all of those comments. Others throughout the city have also advocated for years on the benefit of an off-leash dog park, and believes that they have demonstrated that our city definitely is large enough and needs to have a safe and designated space for their dogs and for their owners. So once again, I just want to reiterate the fact that, both perspectives have been heard, and it's time for us to kind of consider those. So we are committed to continue to listen to the conversations with transparency, but with respect. We have an open mind, and as I mentioned, we have listened, and that does not mean that we all agree, because unfortunately, in this case, some will feel like they've won and some will feel like they've lost. But the important thing is that we're being open and transparent here, and I want to allow this council to be able to discuss this particular item openly, and that's the purpose of item number 7. So it does not mean that there's public comment at this time. It's for the council members. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and turn the time over to the council for them to discuss the East Ridge Dog Park. I know it's tough to start.
I'll start. So one thing I had written down that I really just wanted to highlight, and the council, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. There were some statements made at the last meeting that made it seem as though discussions about a dog park, a location to be determined, any of those things were done with a lack of transparency. And I know I got elected in 2021, and I brought this up in 2022 during our first strategic planning meeting, just the question, what does it look like? I'm not a dog owner, so when someone says you don't have a dog in the fight, I literally would not have a dog in the fight. But because I am elected to represent all of the citizens of Layton, there's folks on both sides of that. And so I know we also discussed it in 2024, and as recently as June and November 2025, we have specific, very detailed studies that our Parks and Rec staff has provided for us. All of these done in public meetings, public settings, live streamed, open to the public. So I was a little taken aback to hear there was a perception that a lot of these discussions were being done in some backdoor room, closed off to the public. It was frankly surprising to me to have so many folks come and make it seem as though this was never something that we had discussed. So I did want to make sure that folks understand these discussions had been going on long before I even was on the council, but I can attest to those specific discussions that were public and open. With regard to East Ridge, I do recall after probably the last meeting we had where Parks and Rec presented the presentation to us. I think it was the November 2025 meeting. And we had in June received pros and cons and all of these different options. And it did seem as though the off-leash trail option would be an option that could be accommodating for the residents, as well as, those who have dogs, those who don't have dogs. One thing that I think was also a little misleading is that this was a dog park per se. I didn't picture it as that, But I think that also may be why the council wants to have these types of discussions, because we aren't really privy to what it should look like. Where would it be partially off-leash? Would there be times where folks had off-leash opportunity to bring their dogs, like as is in some parks in the state, where you have different days and different times where a particular location allows for off-leash use? Are there opportunities in this location or others for a fenced-in area? These are discussions that we as a council have not had, have not gotten to that point yet. And so for there to be a perception or an idea that this is a go completely and it's a completely wild, dogs are running all over the place off leash and they're, attacking people, none of those discussions have actually been had. And I think for me, it was a little jarring to hear all of those perceptions when we actually hadn't been able to decide on or even come together to discuss what do the options look like. And so the idea about using some of that ramp money to finish this park and to allow some type of off-leash option, that is something that the council had decided upon and discussed and voted on. But the particulars of that, what that looks like, the practicality, the safety, all of those things are details that had not yet been determined. But it does sound as though folks think that those things have been determined, and they had not been. And so I have a number of things that I can bring up and might want to talk about a little bit later. I do feel that our city is large enough at this point to have at least one, if not more, to be quite honest. And, I think that we can be deliberate. We can make decisions that will not necessarily give a yay for everyone, but will be able to have a compromise where we can meet the needs of all residents who are in this city. And that's something that I think we need to discuss. And that's, I think, why the mayor had it on the agenda today. Even an option, in my opinion, for one of our underutilized parks as a shared use space. Again, is there some portion of Andy Adams or some other park where there can be a fenced off space? But that to me does not say that East Ridge is completely off the table, because we just haven't discussed what does this look like? What is the practicality of it, and how do we implement it? What I will say, and then I will stop, is that I am not on board with us continuing to kick this can down the road, because as I mentioned, from 2022 through today, which we're now in the middle of 2026, these discussions have been had. And so to say, okay, well, this is not the place, and then we're going to take another 6 months to find another place, or it's going to take another year to generate or create something when we do have the potential for options, I feel like we need to have the opportunity to figure that out. And I think we owe it to the residents of the city, those who have dogs and those who don't. As a non-dog owner, there are certain folks who don't have their dogs on leash presently at parks where they're not supposed to. And I think that having something for them would alleviate those types of things. So I'll stop there for now.
Okay. Who wants to voice next?
Sure, I'll go next. Thank you, Bettina. That was well said. Agree with a lot of what you said. I think, as a member of a governing body here, we have a little over 90,000 people in our city. It's a pretty big city. It's the biggest in Davis County by a long share. And we have a lot of different priorities. We have a lot of different residents with different interests, different ideas. And we have some very passionate people. And sometimes they want what they want. And I don't hesitate to say that I'm happy for them to be so vociferous, because local government is where the rubber meets the road, right? It's the government that you interact with on a daily basis. When you flush your toilet, when you call the police department, when you drive on the roads, Layton City's there, and you're interacting with us every single day. Now, because we have such unique priorities and we have a finite number of dollars, we can't, unlike the federal government, we can't print our own money. We have to go by what we have, what we bring in. And so we have to make certain priorities. And so Councilman Morris, Councilman Thomas, and I joined just a term before Councilmember Smith Edmondson. And so we've been having these discussions since our first days because we had very interested parties who wanted to bring a dog park feature into our park systems, and we have a large city, and it's something that we have discussed. But sometimes it can be seen as kicking the can down the road. But in reality, it may be that it just wasn't a priority for the councils who came before us, and we have to decide if it's a priority for us. Now, that's not to say that that isn't an important thing, but we have a limited amount of resources, and so we have to decide on what's prioritized and what's not. So with regard to this Eastridge Park, I agree with what you said, Bettina. A lot of that discussion, when I would talk to residents after, and so we've got lots of emails and lots of discussions, is that there was this understanding that the football was at the 3-yard line, and it's just put it in the end zone. That's how close this was, and that we weren't even close to the 3-yard line with this discussion. We had made some preliminary discussions about ideas for this particular area. We had set aside some funds in RAMP to say, okay, if we did want to facilitate this, how would we do that? What does this look like, at least conceptually? But local government works very slowly. So I saw a lady here in the purple hair. We had a nice conversation before last meeting, 2 weeks ago, right? Guess what? We haven't sat in this meeting and had any discussions as a governing body since me and you were in here 2 weeks ago. So sometimes people can say, well, it takes a long time, or why isn't anything happening? And it's because we only meet every other week. So you've been at the last 2 meetings we've had, and sometimes that means that government is pretty slow. It's deliberative. And so that can be frustrating, especially if you want to get things done quickly. I do echo some of the things that you said, Bettina, about the idea about this park kind of being this, off leash, just let your dog run wild, run the full length of don't worry about any of the kids. It's all open to the dogs. That was never anything that our Parks and Rec are amazing people. They would never recommend something like that. That's not what we're discussing. That's not what we even potentially preliminarily looked at. But part of being an elected official is being a representative of the people that we are elected by, right? And so the people who come and say, I want this dog park, I want a place for me to socialize with my dog, they have just as much of an insight into my thinking as someone who comes and says, do not put a dog park in my backyard under any circumstances. Because if they're both Layton residents, I want to listen to them equally. But as we've discussed, and as in, I guess, just my position as we kind of want to move this ball instead of having it sit here, because I think it's a discussion point and subject we've had for a long, long time. I'm not in favor of a dog portion of the park at Eastridge, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I think that we should kick the can down the road and not plan for something. You mentioned parks that we had looked at before. Councilman Morris and I had talked about Andy Adams as a potential opportunity. I know Parks and Rec had looked at that beforehand. That would be a position where I would think that we may be able to have a better outcome in terms of what the actual park would look like, and it wouldn't maybe have some of the negative options or ideas that this one at Eastridge would have. So I really think it may be beneficial for us maybe just to put our chips where they are, at least on what we want to do with this particular portion of Eastridge, and whether that's something that we think that this off-leash dog park if this is a good area for it, or if it's something that maybe we can get enough discussion and decide on as a council today, at least what this particular decision with this particular park looks like. Not saying no to all dog parks, but my hope would be that if there is a consensus, at least 3 of us saying that we don't want this in this particular Eastridge Park, but we are still contemplating and want to move forward, not kicking the can down the road, but to really find and be aggressive in finding an alternative park, potentially Andy Adams or somewhere else where Parks and Rec would provide to us. So that's where I'm at on this issue. I appreciate all the emails that I've gotten, both for and against, because it's been interesting because we talked to the people who were very in favor of Eastridge Dog Park or in favor of a dog park in general, have really just took all the air out of the discussion because they were the only ones speaking. right? They've been on this path for years and years. And so having a lot of the discussion last week and all the emails we've received, and I saw a news story with Fox 13, all these things, it's now that there's other individuals who are just as interested in this area and maybe have a difference of opinion, but it's something hopefully that we can find ways through the way we utilize in local government, through compromise, through discussion and dialogue, to try to find a situation where we might be able to get the best for both parties, that it's not a zero-sum, one wins, one loses. And so my hope is that that we can, if there's consensus, move off Eastridge as an idea for the dog park, but be as equally as forceful as saying that I do want to find a place for a dog park in the city, because I do think that there is a need for that, and hopefully that's something that we can have the Parks and Rec help us with on an expedited basis to get that moving forward. So that's where I'm at.
Very good. Okay. Anyone else wants to express their views here? If you don't, I'll call you out. Go ahead, Mr. Thomas.
Turn mic on. I'm just going to be honest with you in the only way I know how to do things. I'm not a proponent of a dog park. Okay? Definitely not at Eastridge because of the property that's there. But I'm one vote in 5 of us. And if 3 of the council members decide they want to put a dog park somewhere, I'm not going to curl up in a ball and cry. I'm not going to go running around going wah, 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 wah. I'm going to do the best damn job I can do and build the best dog park that we can build. And I promise you that. But it takes 3 people. I'm not one of them. And I'll say that just up front. I want to be honest with you. And there's reasons. And you've mentioned, it's come out 1,000 times of the different things. And certain things worry me. Unleashed. That's probably one of my biggest. But I understand maybe that could be done in a way that would work. I'm not going to say things for or against. All I'm just going to say, I'm not a proponent of it. But again, if 3 of the council decide that's fine, then I'll do the best job I can to make it work for you, because that's my job. My job is to vote on how I feel, and that's how I feel. And I have my reasons, which aren't overly important, but that's the way I feel, and that's, I guess I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Morris?
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate everyone being here this evening. You're probably here for this and not something else. The mayor didn't ask everyone to raise their hands, but I know why you're here. And we don't see people much here. The job that we do, and maybe that's good, maybe not. We talk about priorities of the city, and we have finite resources, and those resources come from you. They don't come from us. It's your tax money, and we take that serious. Hopefully, you feel that we take that serious. I remember in 2020, I think it was 2020, we had a meeting and we were talking about pickleball. I see some pickleballers here.
Yeah.
And that was the it thing. That's like, we got to have pickleball, and we did that. We listened, and we figured out a way to, with the finite resources, the priority of the city, and I think we did a good job in balancing that and putting the courts where they make the most sense, and even courts that we can expand in the future if things get even more popular than they already are. But that was something that we decided as a council was a priority. The next was the pool. One of these discussions where, okay, what are you going to do? And we had people here talking about we want to build a new pool, and other cities have big rec centers, and we don't here. And we had the staff put together a great presentation of options, and with price tags that were $40 and $50 and $60 million. And we felt like, as a council, listening to the residents as well, they were on both sides, that we were going to do that, and that we would invest more into surf and swim with a brand new wave machine and new tile and a new bubble, and it's been refurbished. And I think I'm sure there's people still on both sides of that, but it's something that we took serious, our responsibility of the resources that we have, and again, priorities. And back with the pickleball presentation, we also had a presentation on dog parks back then, and it wasn't there wasn't support as far as vocal here, but we had the report, and just recently, in the last couple of years, we've had support for a dog park. I've been publicly supportive of having a space in the city for dogs. My opinion has been, man, if we're going to do a dog park, it's going to be the best dog park. The dogs are not going to know. I mean, they're going to be like, what is this? I just want to stay here. I don't want to go to Syracuse or Clearfield or Bountiful. I don't think the dogs care. I don't think the dogs care. I had a dog. We had a dog for the last 15 years. I think Todd, you remember. And our dog he's a little Yorkie. And he was mean as the day is long. His name was Sloan, after Jerry Sloan, who was also mean as the day is long. And that's who he was named after. And we lost him in November. But we couldn't take him to a dog park. We couldn't take him to a dog park. And so we never really did that. And that wasn't something that we did as dog owners. I would walk him every day and walk him, and I would be afraid on Case Creek Trail that there were dogs off leash there a lot of times. Even well-trained dogs, and I couldn't take him because I didn't know what was going to happen. My dog was on a leash. And now we've got a couple of we got 3 grand dogs, and one of them happens to live at our place, and it's a Shiba Inu. And I was walking him in Sandridge. I live behind Sandridge Park. Again, we allow dogs in all of our parks except 2, but they have to be on a leash, which is something that we decided as a council that was important. Maybe the council before us, Mayor?
Yeah, it was.
We supported that as well. And I'm on the track around Sandridge, and there was this couple with an older, it's probably a Labrador, and off leash. And I mean, it wasn't going to hurt anybody. It was just old, but we walked by, and the dog wanted to say hi to the dog that I was walking, Senbei. And the guy asks me, "Well, is he friendly?" I'm like, "Dude, you're in this park off leash. Where's your leash?" Anyway, so we have that, and finally, I've got another grand dog that I've been doing my own research. This dog loves dog parks. He just loves them, and it doesn't matter where they go. And we've been to Ogden, we've been to Bountiful, we've been to Clearfield, Salt Lake, a couple places. And so why do I tell you all that? Just so I can beat Dave in speaking. But I tell you that because my idea, I've maybe been overthinking what it should be and what it should look like and what the dogs really care about and what the owners of the dogs really care about as far as wanting to socialize, a playground for dogs to go. You sit with your friend, you chat, the dogs are running around, and I've experienced that with with my daughter's dog. And it's maybe opened my eyes a little bit more to potential of, I mean, these are cities that, Bountiful, for instance, they just tried to find a place in a park 10 years ago. And they were lucky to get that. And they've been, I think, successful there. The East Ridge idea, was intriguing. My daughter also likes to hike in Mill Creek and the other canyons in Salt Lake, and that's what it is. It's just off leash, off you go. You got dog days on leash and dog days off leash. Like, well, that sounds intriguing, and it's beautiful there, and that's been my thought. Now, again, to Bettina's point and to Zach's point, really didn't have here's what it's going to look like, and here's what it's going to be, and it's going to be this big, and not all those details. And so it's been good to be able to chat and discuss with input from the residents, and tonight a little bit more. I guess I feel like I don't want to kick the can down the road anymore. I don't know that we were doing that on purpose anyway, but I don't want to kick it down the road. I want to have a space. I don't think it has to be a Taj Mahal for dogs, but a shared use space. We talk about Andy Adams Park, infrastructure's there, parking lots, brand new restroom facility, lights. I mean, it's central location, at least for up where we live. To Bettina's point, there may be other places in the city, but I feel like that's maybe more of the direction, and that East Ridge. By the way, you mentioned ramp funds. The ramp funds the project was submitted to kind of fast track the completion of the park, with the intent of, yeah, there could be a dog use there, but again, we've had to move funds up to be able to finish that park. And that's a city park. It's not the East Ridge Neighborhoods Park. You're gonna have to share it. And there's gonna be dogs on the park. There's gonna be, whether we decide whether there's a dog place or not, dogs can still be on leashes. But it's a city park for all of us. So I don't, long story short, I don't feel like that's not the place for a dog park. I feel like we need to have a shared use space, Andy Adams-esque, and figure out how quickly we can get that done.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
So I'm the rookie on this team up here, and saw at the last council meeting when the public spoke their mind, and I'm going myself, I need to educate myself quickly on dog parks. I know there's been a lot of public comment for pro dog parks in the city. So I did get a chance to sit down with our Parks and Rec department just yesterday. I'm quite lucky. I got a small farm, and I don't actually have dogs. I have grand doggies. They belong, two of them belong to my son that lives next door. He lets them out in the morning. They come to my house. I feed them. They spend the day at my house. My wife feeds them when she gets home, and then they go over to his house and sleep at night. So I guess they are my dogs. But on my small farm, I could say, hey, I can take my dogs and go out there off leash, it's fenced and that. But then I do have a problem. My food safety audit. If to sell my produce to, say, Kroger or Walmart, it has to be inspected. There's a laundry list of items that I have to check off. If the inspector comes down there and it's during the growing season and he sees my dog on the prop, I fail that inspection. So I can relate to some of the comments some of the citizens said about, waste in Case Creek and stuff like that. But also be aware that Case Creek is impaired, and that's because of us, not the animals that lived there before us, and that it's the main stormwater funnel through the city. I wanted to point that out. So anyway, when I met with the Parks and Rec Department, the education I got is previous council elected to open all city parks to on-leash dogs, except for two, Ellison and Layton Commons. I hope I got that correct. The East Ridge Nature Park would still fall into that same category. And looking at the funding that RAMP in the proposed budget, I think it's $300,000, if I remember correctly, to fast track and complete this project. It has amenities that people would think is for a dog park, but these would go into any of our parks. In my sitting down with Parks and Rec leadership, they started showing me some preliminary designs of what I considered a traditional dog park, fenced-in areas, small dog area, large dog area. I'm going, well, this is cool. So have we allocated any funding to start to design? And their answer is no. Is there any money in this fiscal year, this proposed budget that we're going to talk about a little later today, to do the design? And the answer is no. There's no money allocated to this, what I consider a traditional dog park. We're looking $50,000 to do the engineering just to get the designs. And then their estimate is $1.5 million to complete this. And I'm going, okay, how are we as a council going to figure out how we're going to come up with this funding? And then as they explained, that's a big issue right there. The Parks and Recs started telling me of the laundry list of us residents reaching out to them and say, hey, we want an ice sheet, and we want this, and we want that. And so staff and council, we need to look at how we prioritize where our needs is. Clint mentioned the pickleball craze and that. So that's on us. That's what we were elected to do, to start looking at these issues and stuff and that. But after the meeting 2 weeks ago, I'm going, okay, what's going on? Because it came, what appeared to me was we were going to have a 9-acre open dog park. The animals, the dogs could run off leash wherever they go. And so Parks and Rec started explaining to me that this is a trail, off-leash trail section. And then they go, similar to Memory Grove and Salt Lake. And I go, well, I've been there with my daughters and their dogs off leash. And then they used the word programming, and I kept thinking of computers, and I go, what do you mean by programming? Well, basically there's restrictions. Days that the dogs can be off leash there, times that they could be off leash there, restricted areas that they can't be. So there's a lot of rules, and I'm going to call them rules, that need to be identified if we elect to move forward with an off leash area at the Eastridge Nature Center. I'm still learning. That's no excuse. You guys elected me to make decisions, not to kick the can down the road. I think this council is committed to resolve this and come quickly with a decision how we're going to do that. But the one question I didn't ask Parks and Recs was, okay, what is the timeline for construction on the East Ridge Nature Park? And I wish I would ask that, but then I'm making a few assumptions, and I should never make an assumption. It does sound the funding's in place. If this council elects to the tentative budget, we pass it. But then they still need to prepare the construction documents. They still need to do that. So there is time. This isn't going to happen within 1 year, 2 years, and I really don't know what the construction schedule will look like. We're going to get into winter months and stuff like that. So we need to look at all that. We do have a little time to sort through this, but again, we need to make a decision quickly, and then we got to move on to the next issue that comes in front of this council, another dog park somewhere else. I'm going to lean on my other council members and staff to educate me a little bit more so I can make an educated decision when it comes to this issue particularly. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, you want to make another comment? Okay, go ahead.
Would we be able to get just some clarity from Parks and Rec on some of those things? The main reason I want to hear that is because when we discussed the option for moving the completion of this park up, I voted for that with the idea that there would be some type of off-leash dog component. Again, not an off-leash dog park, 9 acres of an East Ridge situation. So that was misspoke. But if we did not have that as a part of the proposal, so to speak, then we still would have needed to wait for more impact fees in order for the remainder of East Ridge Park to be completed. And so for me, us voting to move that money meant that there was going to be some type of component, and also that it would be done sooner. So this 2-year potential time frame, I just need some clarity on that from Parks and Rec staff, please.
I'll have Mr. Price come up and clarify that for us.
Thank you, Council. As it currently stands right now, we are in the tentative budget. We are funded to complete the design and construction of the East Ridge Nature Park. And so we would work as quickly as we can to finish those drawings and then move quickly into construction. We think that we're at least a year out, depending on the timing and the promptness that we can get those drawings done. The component of how dogs are utilized, or if they are allowed off-leash, would be something that we can continue to discuss. The bulk of the funding right now just finishes the infrastructure, and then we would be able to discuss more fully how that off-leash issue is handled in this area.
Does that help clarify for you?
Yes, but it also adds more questions.
Well, please do. The purpose of this discussion is so that collectively we can kind of get all of our answers out there or questions so that we can make an informed decision.
So that being the case, and I know that you all haven't had the time, well, you've had the time, but we haven't really had the direction to look at shared use spaces. What would be the soonest that any type of off-leash area or shared use space where there's fenced-in space for dogs could be completed? And I say that because, again, I was under the impression that us moving this funding to move up the completion of the East Ridge space would mean that we would be able to actually see the end result of something with this off-leash space a lot sooner. And so hearing, a year or more to me is not what I anticipated when originally voting to move those funds over from RAMP.
Yeah, at East Ridge Park, there's still a lot of infrastructure that needs to be put in. There's trails and pavilions and amenities that will take a little bit of time just to construct. If you're asking what is the fastest way to create a dog park, it would be to address the park that you have mentioned. If we looked at Andy Adams Park as an example, that has all of the infrastructure and the hard elements that usually take a long time. That lower part of Andy Adams Park could be fenced in very quickly, and we could provide a space there for dogs off leash.
Okay, Councilmember Bloxham had a comment.
So my understanding was when I voted for that we were not conditioning Eastridge Park to be an off-leash dog park. The funding was based on finishing the park infrastructure, as you mentioned, and then because it's a city park, there are amenities that go with that, like Councilmember Calendriano said. There are dog amenities that go with that are in parks where dogs are allowed, right? And that the scope of how much dog use is at that Eastridge Park is separate and distinct from the finances that we've funded. Is that a fair characterization, Dave?
Well, from our standpoint, we walked away from those meetings feeling that we had been given direction to move forward with this nature area with the intention of having dogs off leash. If we've misunderstood that,
No.
and we're
It wasn't rhetorical. I really just want to hear what you had to say.
yeah, we walked away feeling that we had some direction to move in that direction to create this area so that dogs could be off leash. The details of how and when, we have not had that conversation with you.
So if we direct, as it's been kind of said from multiple council members, if we say we'd rather have this be in another area, that it actually may be able to be done sooner in an Andy Adams area than it would have been in an Eastridge Park.
Yes, we could move quicker at Andy Adams.
Okay.
Councilmember Morris.
I just want to say that I mentioned I was intrigued by the Eastridge. I don't think you're mistaken in thinking that we didn't offer some, let's go this direction, but without all the detail. I mean, I just so you know.
No, that's good. I appreciate you bringing that up.
I'm not sending on wild goose chases.
Okay. Mr. Clendanis.
Just to clarify something, Councilman, I know you said my last name very well, but Mike works, and I'm going to go with Zach with you. Okay. If we do move forward with Andy Adams, and we want to do it in this next fiscal year, we would have to reallocate some funds from another project, postpone or delay another project, and I know you just said fencing, but there'd probably be a little bit more than just putting up a fence for a dog park. Do you have any ideas, a ballpark number and I guess again then it counts on how many acreage that we devote to the dog park. So is that something that staff could look at and bring to us? If I have consent from my other staff members, the thing I do like about Andy Adams is, as I'm sitting here and learning, is this is something that we could do fairly immediately in near future than 2, 3, 4 years down the road, or even 10 years down the road. So we could move to address the concerns of our residents here that do want an off-leash area. And this is kind of a funny story, and I'm sorry, I'm going to be a storyteller here. Prior to being sworn in as a city council member, I was sitting on the front row next to a developer that was proposing to this council, had an annexation rezone for PRD, and in their design, they had an area that they were saying, well, this could be a dog park, or, maybe not. It's fairly small. That's how he's coming across in his discussions. The proponents of a dog park were here. In the public comment, they got up and stated why they want a dog park, and that gentleman changed the direction within 20 minutes by the time he got up there. It went, well, we're thinking of maybe putting a dog park here, to we are putting a dog park there. So your voices of the people that have come here and pushed for dog parks are being heard on the private side. The problem with that dog park is in an HOA, and it will be private. So the general public outside that HOA will not be able to visit it. So this is why we're looking at an area, and I hope I got consensus from the council to move forward on the Andy Adams option and look and see if we can get that. I got a nod from Zach. And
I already emailed it.
so
Thank you for doing my job.
okay.
No, okay. Any more comments on this, you guys? Because I got to just chime in here and say, this is, like I said, this is the process in action. This is being transparent. This is being forthcoming. We're having this open discussion. We have these open discussions all the time. It's just that, until somebody grasps it and really makes it everyone else aware of it, people just really don't pay attention, but we do publicly notice all of our conversations or our meetings, I should say. Personally, I am a dog fan. I love dogs. I always have, and I've been trying like crazy to figure this problem out. These guys know that I've tried to solicit even public funding or getting some other developers involved in creating this for us. So one way or another, we're going to solve this issue. Just like was spoken earlier, and I was going to mention that too. It took us a while to solve the pickleball issue, but we did it. And that's what I have confidence in this council, that we will solve this issue. And so with that, council, do you feel like you need more deliberation, or are you good to go ahead and give kind of the staff some direction here? Okay. Seeing that did you want to comment? Okay. Seeing that there's no more discussion then amongst ourselves, then I think based upon the head nods here and what has been discussed, I believe, Mr. Price, that what they'd like to see is some numbers and some possibilities of how we could create a dog park in the Andy Adams area. Certainly, again, this is part of the process. There's no decisions being made tonight, but we are going to kind of proceed forward and look at all of our options and see what we can do here to solve this concern.
We would be glad to bring that back to you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Sure.
So if there is a need for funding to be moved from somewhere to look at this Andy Adams as an option, I think that some of that rent money that we sent to Eastridge for this purpose needs to go there. And I'm saying that because, again, that was the understanding for, at least for myself, I know for Councilmember Morris, because he mentioned that. I don't know about the others we know about, Councilmember Bloxham, but the idea was this is a priority and this is something that we want to see happen in the near future. So I think that some of that money needs to go towards that. And I'm still not, I still am fine with having off-leash space in this trail space with guardrails, whether that's a fence, well, definitely a fence, but something of that nature. And again, I just think we hadn't made it down the road to that point yet. Yeah. And so I'm not in favor of either of the two options.
Okay, very well. Well, I'd like to go ahead and continue on then with our regular scheduled meeting here. So that brings us to item number 4, because technically we just did item 7 in front of 4, which is our public comment portion of our meeting. This is an opportunity for residents to get up and give us their opinion. We do like to limit the time that you'd speak. Certainly, if anyone's here for any of our public hearing items, please note that at that time, if you want to comment on those items, we will have another opportunity for you to go ahead and voice your opinion on those items once we open that public hearing. But in the meantime, if you have something else you'd like to bring up to this governing body, you're more than welcome to. However, just keep in mind that we will not have a discussion. We won't have any dialogue back and forth, but we'll again take good notes and make sure that we are cognizant of the response back to you. I think that's about it. So if anyone wishes to give us a comment, now, I in all due respect, I want to just clarify that certainly you can see that this council took into consideration both the pros and cons of this particular location, but more importantly, the need for a dog park versus the location. They have heard that. So I don't know if they really need more comments at this point, but if you feel like you have to, then you're more than welcome to, but just know your time's limited, and we certainly want to give everyone else a chance in our city to voice their opinions on anything else. So with that, the time is now yours. Please state your name and what city you're from. You can step up to either end of the mic.
My name is Sherry Wade, and I am from Layton. I did speak last time about the dog park, and I want to begin to say I am absolutely for a dog park. Absolutely for a dog park. I think Andy Adams would be a perfect location. Eastridge, I feel like, is not, due to the codes in the Utah laws that do state that there are risks with the dog park. Utah Code 8-1-3 says dogs attacking domestic animals, service animals, hoofed protected wildlife, which are the deer, the cows, and the horses that are back in our yards, or domestic fowls, that any person can injure or kill the dog. This just recently happened in Roy. I do not want to see any dogs injured, ever. That is not my goal. I do think that an off-leash dog park is severely needed. And for those who are here for the dog park, I will be the first to stand here and fight with you for a dog park in the right area. If it is in Andy Adams or any place else, I will be here and I will fight with you for a dog park in the right area. But in a dog park, in an area where there are wild animals, horses and deer, if the dogs attack those, you're putting the homeowners and everybody else in jeopardy in that area. That is not something I wish to see. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Hi, not to belabor the point, just wanted to introduce myself. I'm the Director of Animal Care of Davis County, and I heard you mention that a lot of you guys that reached out to the Parks and Recs, but nobody reached out to me. So I wanted to make sure that you guys knew who I was. I'm here to help. I can give you statistics. There were some comments about off-leash versus leash dogs. They both get in fights. There's not much difference on that, but happy to provide stats. Happy to be a resource for Dave Price. We've already met. But anything that you guys need, please let me know, and I'll hand my cards to the clerk for all of you, okay? And then possibly be back in August to kind of share the stats of your city and all the calls that we come out to and kind of that, so you guys have a good information to go by. Okay?
Thank you. And along those lines, we need to thank all the volunteers that help you walk your dogs in your facility.
They're fantastic. We love them all. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Okay, next.
Hi, my name is Ian Bowles. I'm a Layton resident and occasional pickleball player. I'm here to support the creation of an off-leash dog area in Layton. I got prepared remarks, but you guys have covered a lot of it, so I'll try to skip through them faster, save everybody some time. I had the same idea as Representative Smith Edmonds of okay, if we're going to move this, because the only reason that was given was, well, the location. The woman before said, I would support anyone in the right location, as long as it's not the one that's right there in that one, right? The Adams Park idea seems great. I'm all for it, but I think that I had the same idea. Cool, let's move some of that money and make that a priority. I'm coming here to ask you to make a off-leash dog area a priority. I think there's a lot of really good reasons to do so. Based on the remarks you've given, this is my first council meeting, but it's clearly been an issue for a while. Councilman Bloxham, thank you for your civics lesson, but the only reason you gave was, well, it's not the right location. So let's find the right one. As a resident, to hear that and to hear you guys all of a sudden come up with this idea of what about Adams Park? Yeah, any of the parks. Put a fence up. It's fine. I realize it's not that simple. Parks and Rec probably back there going, it's not that simple. But he did just say, we've already done the hard work of putting the infrastructure in. All right. I'll be honest, I don't live close to the East Ridge Park. So I'm here because I think it's a good idea, not because it's a convenience for me. I own 2 dogs. I've been working to train them really, really well. And I would love a place to go let them off leash and not be worried about who else is there. Because everyone else that's in that area knows, cool, we're here with dogs off leash. We take responsibility for our dogs that way. I visited a dedicated dog park up in Nampa, Idaho, and I left thinking, if Idaho can have that, why can't we? I mean, Clearfield has a fenced area. Clearfield? We're bigger than Clearfield. We can do that. These aren't experiments. They're ordinary amenities that other cities, including our neighbors, have, and they offer their residents. Right now, Layton dog owners drive to those cities to use them. We're sending our residents and their goodwill with elsewhere. A park also fits where Layton is headed. As the city adds more apartments and townhomes, more residents that won't have yards are going to want a place for the leash, and to know putting in a dog park says, hey, we see you, we want you here, and you're adorable fur babies as well. As water restrictions get tighter, having public green space where we can take our dogs is also going to be more important, and that's the right way to, especially if it's the right way to build it, if we do it right. It's a park that people can be proud of. One final note, just in the process, I only heard about this because somebody had posted online, hey, come to city council and oppose this dog park. I then spent the next 20 minutes trying to find official information on it and couldn't find it anywhere. I encourage you all to open up a browser in incognito mode. If you don't know how to do that, ask a teenage boy. Try to find official sources for anything that you've discussed that has been said, hey, this is here. I don't think it was trying to be obfuscated or trying, not offering transparency, but I definitely didn't see that in my efforts to do it. It might be not a representation of the public here. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Roger Lambert, Layton. I wanted to come up because I feel that some of the communication stuff came from me. Mea culpa, I missed the KSL article in November and stuff like that. But I also want to give a little bit of perspective to the gentleman who is just there. The search on the Layton City website stinks. And I'm a Republican district chair. I'm a county representative. I'm a county delegate, a state delegate. I'm very active, and I didn't know this was happening in my backyard. I talk to Parks and Rec quarterly. I have a reminder to ask them, okay, so when are you going to complete the trail behind my house in Eastridge? and the first I heard of it was 2 weeks ago. And so my bad for missing it, because it's there, right? I know it's there. I found it now, but there's something about discoverability that's missing. And I also want to thank the City Council for the great discussion today and for recognizing Juneteenth, Emancipation Day. My family was emancipated in Texas, and so it's good to see this change going on. So thanks.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, council persons. Landon Bickley, Layton resident as well. I just want to talk about two things. Councilwoman Bettina is under the impression that just because it is an off-trail, the dogs will be able to go off-leash on the trail, that those dogs will stay on the trail, I think is frankly erroneous. I feel like that's not what will happen. And the reason why we've been part of the reason we've been concerned here is there was a quote by Michelle Hicks, the Animal Care of Davis County Director on Fox 13, who spoke, and she was quoted in saying, why we are so supportive of the layout of the Layton City Parks and Rec team has drafted is that they're utilizing proper boundaries, secure fencing, and designing a space that minimizes impact on the neighborhood while maximizing safety. And we're saying as residents, we have seen no such plan ever. And I know there's maybe people are feeling like it's very transparent, but this neighborhood was essentially built a year ago. So things that happened in 2021 didn't apply to us. And I know that's again, our bad as well. But I think that adds to the mystery of things. If you're wondering that things are being done in a backdoor nature, is that a county employee, I don't know how that's set up between your organization, but apparently is privy to the plans and the inner workings of how this is going to go. So my official stance and opinion is that I come away from this meeting really feeling no less sure that East Ridge is protected and that there will be an off-leash. I know there was a couple council persons who said they support that. Okay, so 3, it's like official, it's not happening there? Okay.
It was not a meeting that we would actually take a vote in. It was a
okay.
discussion.
A discussion. So with that being said, I guess then thank you for listening to us and voting in support of that, because I was confused, and maybe that's my bad again, but thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, my name is Johnny Cordero from here in Layton. I'm here to represent the kids in my neighborhood and why this dog park not only affects I've never done this before. Not only affects the environment and the wildlife, but it also affects us. Me and my friends go down to the creek every week and to enjoy nature. And that is right where you want to put the dog park. With this dog park, it will not only be unsafe for me and my friends to go down to the creek, and not only is there a large ecosystem with animals such as deer, raccoons, and other animals, quite a few trees. Me and my friends go down...
You're fine. It's okay. Go ahead and take your time.
Me and my friends have made some good memories down there, and I hope that one day my niece grows up and she'll be able to go down there. I'm just thinking about that. And with this dog park there will be constant noise of dogs barking, and due to that, my mom says we may have to move.
Okay.
Something in my eye.
Sorry. Thank you.
I told him, read the room. It's not really the time, but he worked really hard on the speech, and he wrote it as part of his homeschool today, and he wanted to present that to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We need more kids. Oops. We need more kids like you.
Yep, in a few
Okay.
years, we'll have you sitting up here. Okay, next.
Hi, Linda Lartigue, Layton resident. First, I just wanted to say I submitted a web feedback comment, I don't know, 2 months ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. And I haven't really heard back from anyone. I was sent an email reply saying that feedback was going to be sent to the human resources manager, which I don't quite think that my comment really pertained in that specific direction, so I figured I'd come here and share it with all of you. My comment simply stated that I think it would be really amazing if, as a municipality here in this building, we found a spot somewhere to display photos with little plaques with names and years of all of the mayors that Layton City has had. I've seen this done in other cities, and every time I've seen this, I stare at the wall for so long because it's so amazing to see the history that is shared with a simple picture, to be able to look through all the generations and see how time stands still and yet it changes at the same time through these pictures. I think it's a great civic education component also for when, just residents and children are coming into the municipal building. To see that history, that part of our city would just be amazing. So that was my website feedback comment that I submitted, and I hope that you all will take that into consideration. Just really quickly about this dog park situation, I'm pretty neutral. I have dogs, I love dogs. I would never take my dogs to a dog park personally, but to me, to say we're going to put a dog park in Park A, and then those residents that live near that area say, no, we don't want it in our backyard. And for us as leaders, as elected officials that are entrusted to make these very important decisions, to say, okay, people are upset, let's go ahead and consider Park B. We're just kicking that can down the road, because the residents that live near Park B are going to be here at the next meeting complaining about the exact same thing. I don't think we're necessarily setting the best precedent when we're making those decisions solely based off of that, because we're going to run out of parks. Because every park, there are residents who live near that park, and they're going to feel equally as strong about it. Just my 2 cents. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Michael Hills with Layton City. A couple of things just in response to what was just said. I would like you to think about the reason this property was donated to Layton City, what the intent of that property was. From what I understand, it was to be a nature trail, and I don't think any of the residents there are opposed to that and are opened it for the intent that it was described as, with leash dogs. Also, it was mentioned that the neighborhood was recently built south of Emerald, and the builder and the people selling the homes were not aware of what was going on with an unleashed aspect of this park until 2 weeks ago as well. The person who donated the property also mentioned that they were not aware of an unleashed aspect until a couple of weeks ago. In response to the pollution that it creates, I would be very careful to look at that. It may be impaired now, but putting unleashed dogs in an area where the people are conversing and talking with each other are not, and it's a 9-acre or 5-acre or 2-acre spot, are not going to be next to the dogs to see where they are going to the bathroom, and that will be going into the stream that is next to the area and surrounding that area. So be careful of what you are putting, what you are thinking may be a cheaper option, that it will come back with fines and other reparations that may come back to Layton City as well. One thing also to think about is maybe find out where most of the people that want a dog park are living and find something that would be most convenient to them. It has been said, yes, of course, maybe people around every park may not want them, but there are very different reasons. This was a nature trail, and the wildlife will be completely gone in that area if dogs are unleashed in the area, and that has been proven with many studies. So the intent of this trail needs to be considered, and the purpose of the park that is being put in there. And I thank you for your time and for actually all of the comments that you said earlier. I know that it is a hard decision and that you need to listen to all of us and try to make a decision. So I appreciate your consideration and for your help in us figuring this out. I don't think anybody is opposed to a dog park. It is the location, and there are definitely reasons why you put a dog park where it is put. Comparing it to another dog park in another area, this is an enclosed ravine canyon area, not an open area that continues on. This has residents all on all sides. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, in respect of time, if anybody else wants to speak on a different topic, we're more than happy to hear. But I think, as I tried to state earlier, we've been very open. We've heard pros and cons, those for it, those against it. But I think you've heard where this council sits and what we'll be doing going forward. But with that, I do want to kind of get to our business portion of our meeting. So if does anybody else have a comment unrelated to this? Go ahead, sir.
Hi, Brian Christiansen. I'm here in Layton also. It's not related, but it's related. I think the only idea is, I mean, if you look at this, the agenda, it says Eastridge or whatever, dog park. Well, if you actually probably brought it as an option of unleashed dog discussion and brought it with how many options, then I don't think you'd have the kickback and everybody here kind of wasting time in a way. It's just kind of my thought is, and I get it because as you guys got a hard job, and I appreciate what has been discussed tonight. I'm not laying anything bad on you guys. I just think sometimes the left hand and the right hand didn't talk. Maybe it's kind of what I'm seeing, and so. I think then the news wouldn't be out saying what they did and all kinds of things. And then it could have just been, oh, here's 5 different options. Let's talk about it. Here's the pros and cons. If one person was assigned to have brought all that and put it all together, I think this just could have flowed a lot easier with the whole dog leash area and everything. So I appreciate everything that's been done though tonight. Thank you so much for your service. So.
Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Hi, my name is Scott Sweeten. I am also a Layton resident. I'm going to go on a related but unrelated thing here. I do live in East Ridge and, am opposed to the off-leash dog area there. But I have a bit of a question as well that's triggered as we've been hearing all this discussion about dogs. One of the reasons I'm so hesitant to have an off-leash dog park is actually the following of rules and keeping dogs within the fence. And one of those reasons is I'm a runner. I run several times a week on the Case Creek Trail. And I am here to tell you that I'm sure there are plenty of responsible dog owners. Well over half of all the dogs I run by on the Case Creek Trail are not leashed. Every single time I run the trail, dogs come at me, dogs run at me. I've been bitten minorly, I've been scratched, constantly. So my question is, what is being done to enforce the existing rules about dogs on leashes? Because I would love to go for a run and not be all but attacked by a dog. So I heard mention of the fact that a little while ago there were rules put in place to where, dogs have to be leashed in all the parks, but they're allowed. I don't really want to call the police. I would spend nothing but on the phone with 911 on my runs if I had to call the police every time an off-leash dog came at me. So I guess, is there anything that can be done from an enforcement perspective to help take care of that? Because I'd love to have it be safe. But again, go run Case Creek Trail if you haven't. The majority of dogs, and I would say in most parks, are not on leashes. And if there are no consequences for that, people are just going to continue doing it. So I'd love to have the council look at what we should do, because I'd love to just be able to go for a run and enjoy any trail or park in the city. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If you want to leave your number with our attorney there, then someone can get back to you to answer your question.
That would be great.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and carry on with our meeting then. We have, let's see, 4 consent items. And as I've mentioned before, that these consent items, this governing body can listen to all of them and then make one single action regarding them. So we'll go ahead and bring up our Chief Alan Swanson to speak on item number A, which is an interlocal agreement for a regional dispatch center. Meanwhile, thank you, everyone. While he's coming up, thank you for attending, and we appreciate you being here and being involved in your process.
Thanks, Mayor and Council. This is not related to the dog park.
Not even a little?
Not at all. Andy Adams is in my backyard, but I'm okay with the park as long as it's fenced. So, all right. I present to you Resolution 2629, which is accepting the interlocal cooperation master agreement regarding regional dispatch services. Layton City operates an emergency communication center capable of receiving 911 and non-emergency calls and dispatching public safety resources. As the regional demand for consolidated dispatch services grows, establishing this master framework allows for the efficient onboarding of additional municipal, county, and special service district agencies. This master agreement establishes a standardized structure under which the participating agencies receive dispatch services from Layton City, either through signing this agreement or the addendum at a later date. There are some key elements of this agreement that protect the city's interest and establish equitable partnership. One is operational control and ownership. Layton City retains sole authority over management, staffing, supervision, training, and day-to-day operations of the center. Furthermore, all real and personal property, infrastructure, software, and equipment acquired or maintained for this center remain the sole and exclusive property of Layton City. There's also a governance structure. The agreement creates user, member, and budget advisory groups to provide input and recommendations on policies, service levels, and the budgets. These groups function as an advisory capacity with final budget approval remaining with Layton City Council. And with that, staff recommends the council adopt Resolution 2629 authorizing the mayor to sign this interlocal cooperation master agreement regarding regional dispatch services. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Council, any questions on this? Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Not a question, but Chief, this is just such an important part of a long period of discussion. We have this big building out here that's been under construction, and maybe for the purposes of the people in the room and online, maybe you could just walk us through the idea of consolidation down to these two areas and all the people who are going to be hopefully with us on the north side in making it safer for everyone in Davis County who uses dispatch.
Yeah. Yes, sir, Councilman. These discussions have been going on. How far back do you want me to go? 20 years? But anyways, there were 4 dispatch centers, Clearfield, Layton, Bountiful, and then the sheriff's office. And several years ago, we started dispatching for Clearfield and North Davis Fire, as well as South Weber. And over the last 3 years, we've been having discussions with the cities in the north end that can't afford to have their own dispatch centers. And not to mention that that's just not the most economical way or the safest way to do it. It's a lot better to have everybody on the same page, especially where a couple years ago, we all, the entire county, went to the same server and are all on the same RMS system, which allows us to share information throughout the county immediately, right? And so that concept just carried over into dispatching, and you guys approved this process, and the process was Layton City is big enough and has always been to dispatch for itself, and we feel like we do a pretty good job of that, and we've been asked over the years by other cities if we would dispatch for them, when we just didn't have the space or the capability to do that, which is why we then brought to you the idea of building this new dispatch center over here, which you guys approved, so that we could accommodate these requests that we have been getting for years. So here we are today, and most of the other cities have already signed this agreement. It's already gone before their city council, and we'll also be contracting, as you know, with the Highway Patrol, as well as Search and Rescue, Animal Control, and also Division of National Resources. So we'll be, let me just put it this way, our last year we dispatched those 8, just Layton City alone, actually 32,000 calls. This will take us up to around 140,000 calls per year, and that'll just grow because the north end of the county's still got a lot of space.
Yeah. Thank you, Chief. It's awesome to get to this point, because the idea of being able to go from where we started to being able to have someone call dispatch anywhere in the county and it's not getting transferred. It's being answered, and then response can be sent. And so everybody, like all the ships get raised by the tide. And so just appreciate your hard work and all your team to get to this point to help the residents in our city and all of Davis County be safe. So thanks, Chief.
Absolutely. And I will mention, just for the sake of those listening, that we're not subsidizing anybody. Everybody's paying their fair share for this, including us. So thank you.
Chief,
thank you.
One thing I'd just like to say in layman's terms, because that's all I understand, is that when someone calls 911, then the nearest officer can respond. That may not be a Layton officer. It may, you know what I mean? I mean, you know,
that's correct. That also applies to fire.
Yeah,
EMS,
and I was just using that as an example. But it because the North, even everybody, the nearest officer can now respond, and we don't have to call or send something out to go get Clearfield or whatever.
Correct.
Thank you.
Chief, one quick question. Non-emergency. So is everything going to be dispatched from your office for non-emergency?
Yes. We'll handle all incoming calls.
Any other questions?
Anything about the dog park? Okay.
Enforcement.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go ahead and go on to item number B, which is a bid award with RJT Excavating Inc. and Paul Apolloni will be presenting this item and actually the next item for us.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight I bring to you a bid award to RJT Excavating Incorporated for various sanitary sewer repairs, Project 25-41, Resolution 26-33, various locations throughout the city that's on the map. 4 bids were received, with RJT submitting the lowest responsible bid in the amount of $359,482.94. The engineer's estimate was $450,000. And staff recommends the council adopt Resolution 26-33, awarding the bid to RJT and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement of various sanitary sewer repairs.
Okay. Any questions? Mr. Thomas?
Just one. I was under the impression that Paul Apolloni was going to present this.
I say.
Huh?
Oh, duh.
Thanks, Dave.
But whoever this gentleman is, I appreciate the information.
You look wonderful.
Thank you.
You really do. Okay,
Thank you.
Councilman Morris has a question for you.
Thank you, Mayor. Paul, just a quick question. RJT is currently on Church Street doing stuff. What is that project?
That's the irrigation pipeline extension for the master plan to
connecting the reservoirs?
Yep.
And then after that's complete, and maybe this is complete, is that road going to be resurfaced at some level?
Next season.
Yeah.
Next season is our plan. Yeah.
Okay. I love seeing the progress. It is slow, but it's progressing, and that's going to be a big deal.
It is.
Yep.
It is.
So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions on this topic? Then go ahead and proceed to the next one.
Okay, my next is an interlocal cooperation agreement between Davis County cities and Davis County for the Utah Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, UPDES, General Permit Requirements, Resolution 26-32. The previous interlocal cooperation agreement with Davis County will expire in September of 2026. Layton City is to participate jointly with the Davis County to satisfy the requirements of the Stormwater Management Program and adhere to the Environmental Protection Agency's Stormwater Phase 2 rule. Staff recommends the council adopt Resolution 26-32, authorizing the mayor to sign the interlocal agreement between Davis County cities and Davis County for UPDS general permit requirements.
Okay, very good. Any questions? Okay, thank you very much. That was a
Thank you.
presentation.
Have a good-
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we'll now go on to item number D, which is a text amendment, and Mr. Weston Apolloni is going to present this particular item.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good to be here with you tonight. Before you tonight is Ordinance 2612, which is a municipal code amendment. This would amend multiple sections of Title 15 of the Layton City Municipal Code. The city is required to comply with code standards adopted by the state, which Layton City has done and continues to do. The main thing of this amendment is to update the city code to be consistent with the state's construction code additions. This affects the codes listed on the screen: the International Building Code, International Mechanical Code, International Residential Code, International Fuel Gas Code, International Plumbing Code, International Existing Building Code, International Energy Conservation Code, and National Electrical Code. These updated additions are published by these organizations every 3 years, and the state will then take a couple years to usually go through them and then adopt them by state ordinance. This is the city basically just matching the state code. Staff recommends the council adopt Ordinance 2612, approving the amendment of Title 15 of the Layton City Municipal Code by adopting the proposed state recognizing building code updates. Any questions I can answer for you?
Okay, any questions? Very good. We appreciate that. Good job. Okay, council, that concludes the consent item, so I'll bring it back around for you to take action. Once again, we could take a single action on it, and knowing how long maybe item number D is, you're welcome to just state the ordinance number. So.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution 26-29, which is the dispatch service interlocal agreement. That we approve bid award project 25-41, which is Resolution 26-33 for RJT Excavating. The interlocal cooperation agreement between Davis County cities and Davis County for the UPDES, Resolution 26-32, and the text amendment for Title 15, Ordinance 26-12.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second that we adopt these items. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. That concludes our consent items. We'll go ahead and now move on to our public hearing portion of our meeting, and we'll start out with item number A, which Mr. Tracy Probert will be presenting this item, and it's accepting the city budget for the fiscal year 26-27.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. On May 7th, the council adopted the tentative budget for fiscal year 2026-2027, and at that time set a public hearing for this evening, June 4th at 7 p.m. Here in the council chambers. The fiscal year of that budget begins on July 1st, 2026, and a budget is by statute required to be adopted by June 30th. A property tax rate is required to be set by June 22nd. And so tonight we are here to accept public comment on the tentative budget that's been available for public inspection since May 7th. I would recommend that you open a public hearing, accept public comment, and then after that public comment, it's recommended that we continue this public hearing until June 18th so that any comments can be considered.
Okay, thank you. Council, do you have any comments on this at this time? If not, I'll recognize a motion to open the public hearing.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to open public comment.
Okay. Okay. So Mike will open it and Zach will second it for the record. Okay, this is a time when we'll hear any comments from the public. At this time, if you wish to speak on this topic, you're more than welcome to. Once again, step up to the mic, state your name and what city you're from.
Sorry, I didn't see about this topic. I'm not talking about the dog park, I promise. I just wanted to say before we headed out, thank you for pointing out that.
Okay, yeah, you got to speak into the mic and state your name.
I want to say thank you for pointing out that we need to be more involved all the time, not just when it affects us. So we will try to be more aware of things that happen when it's not coming in our backyard. And if we're not online viewing it, we will try to be here in person. And I totally understand where you're coming from, where all of a sudden there's a room full of people and you're here till 9 p.m. and you're just like, oh, you know, and I understand that the other people were here for years before, and we will try to show up and be more present for things that are going on in the community. And I thank you for hearing all of our stuff over and over again and taking all of our emails. I do appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. But most
Linda Cordero.
Okay. Most importantly, thank you for engaging your son.
Oh, thank you.
That to me is, you can't put a price tag on that. Oh. I mean, like I said, that took bravery, and you know, please don't ever hesitate. You're welcome to come and join us.
Thank you.
Yeah, tell him in 15 years I can sit in the seats and I can watch him up here.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there anyone who wishes to speak in regards to our budget? Okay, seeing that there's none, I'll go ahead and bring it back to the council for action.
Madam Mayor, I move that we continue the public hearing to June 18th, 2026.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay. This is a public hearing, so I do have to take roll call vote. Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Councilmember Klenderanis.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith Edmondson.
Aye.
Councilmember Thomas.
Aye.
Councilmember Bloxham.
Aye.
Okay, there you have it. Thank you. Let's go on to item number B then, which once again, Mr. Probert will present this item to us.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. As part of the budget process, state statute now requires that we hold a separate public hearing on changes in compensation for executive municipal officers, which includes elected and statutory officials. So tonight we're here for that purpose. And before we do that, I think it's important for the public to understand the process that the city goes through in order to determine the increases for municipal executive officers. And the majority of those officers, city manager and directors, down through employees, all follow the same process, and there's a salary survey that takes place among comparable cities within the state so that we can make sure that we're competitive. We don't want to have constant turnover in the city because we want to be able to provide the best possible service to the citizens of Layton City. And so for that reason, we compare with other cities and we do lots of analysis, look at CPI and different things and determine. And the council and mayor are also included in that. Now, for a number of years, the council and mayor have foregone, or at least the council, I should say, has foregone increases to their salary. And again, in this year's budget, there's not an increase programmed for the council or mayor. Now, in our prior meeting, in the prior work meeting, there was comments made that the council and mayor would like to revisit that a little bit over the next couple of weeks and see if some sort of budget change needs to be made. And for that reason, after we accept public comment, I would suggest that we continue this public hearing until June 18th as well, so that discussion can continue and see if there are any slight changes that might need to be made. As far as addressing changes for executive municipal officers that are included in the budget, it's proposed that those officers, excluding the council and mayor, receive a 1% COLA and a 3% merit. And so that's what's proposed in the budget. So at this time, I would recommend that we open a public hearing related to the changes in compensation, and then after that, continue the public hearing to June 18th.
Okay. Council, I'll bring it back to you for action.
Madam Mayor, I move that we open the public hearing.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and follow procedure. Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Public hearing is now open regarding the change in the executive compensation for the municipal officers. If anyone wishes to speak on this topic, you're more than welcome to step up to the mic, state your name and what city you're from. Okay, seeing that there's none, I'll go ahead and bring it back to the council for action.
Madam Mayor, I move that we continue the public hearing until June 18th, 2026.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Once again, I'll do a roll call vote. Councilmember Bloxham.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith Edmondson.
Aye.
Councilmember Calendranos.
Yes.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Okay, there you have it. Let's go on to item number C then, which is a Weston Apollonia will be presenting this. This is a general plan amendment, so.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Before you tonight is a application from Robert Lindquist Jr. He's requesting a general plan amendment for the property located at approximately 790 East Antelope Drive. The property is approximately 1.52 acres, and it's currently vacant. And because the property is located within the APZ, the Accident Potential Zone area, it is designated as agricultural in the general plan. The applicant is also requesting that the general plan designation for this property be amended to the institutional use. The applicant is requesting, along with the general plan amendment, a rezone of the property, and that the property located adjacent to the approximate 1867 North Fairfield Road. Both properties are currently zoned A as an agriculture, and the applicant is requesting that both be rezoned to PB, which is professional business. Combined, the properties total approximately 26.12 acres. So just to give you some context, and I don't have my laser pointer, it wasn't working, so, but I've got the mouse going. So the area outlined in red is the Lindquist Mortuary, and the area in blue is the component that would be the general plan amendment. And the area, both the blue and the area outline, all the area outlined in red is the rezone area. The applicant, the applications, these applications are requested to address existing lot and zoning issues and to accommodate the owner's desires to keep the mortuary and cemetery under the same, under separate ownership. One of the things we discussed in the previous work meeting is that the mortuary, and you can see the white line around the mortuary, that shows a separate property ownership. Currently, because these properties are zoned agriculture, agriculture actually requires all properties have frontage on the road. And our code also requires that mortuaries be combined with cemeteries on the same property. And so we, unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to move forward with the component amending this section at the top into the bottom piece until we fixed all of it together. So what this is addressing is all the components together. The issues can be addressed through a commercial subdivision plat, which is the reason for the request to the rezone for PB. This type of subdivision is not permitted in the A zone and is allowed within the commercial designation. The proposed PB zoning district allows both cemeteries and mortuaries to exist in standalone uses. And is allowed to have no frontage along the property. A development agreement is accompanied with the rezone request to limit and clearly define the permitted uses on the property, ensuring that future development remains consistent with the intended cemetery and mortuary operations that exist on the property today. On May 12th, 2026, it's getting late, so I'm having a hard time reading, I apologize. On May 12th, 2026, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend the City Council approve the general plan amendment request from agriculture to institutional use for the property located at approximately 790 East Antelope Drive, as well as unanimous vote to recommend that the City Council approve the rezone request from A Agriculture to Professional Business with a development agreement for the properties located at the approximate address 790 East Antelope Drive and 1867 North Fairfield. Staff supports both recommendations from the Planning Commission. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, any questions?
Turn on that 790, that piece of property that attaches to Antelope.
Yes.
Have they always owned that?
They've not always owned it, no.
Then I'm going to ask a real intelligent question. How come there's no house there?
There's a power line corridor that runs through it.
Oh, is that the power line corridor? I can see it. It looks like a road almost.
It's faint on the image. It's hard to tell, but there's a large transmission line.
Does that power line go across the cemetery too?
Yeah, it runs at a diagonal, and it's hard to kind of show you with the mouse. But
I can see it on the property now.
But yeah, it cuts through.
Oh, it goes that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can pick it back up in the green at the bottom.
Okay. No, I'm fine then. No, that makes sense. I just wondered why it was there.
Sure.
Okay, next.
Yeah, Weston, I thank you for being, and to the property owner, for finding a solution instead of just saying our code doesn't allow this. But that's a staple. Mortuary has been there for a long time. It's a good part of the city. So the idea of facilitating a solution and accompanying a zone change with a development agreement. So I just appreciate the staff and Lindquist for wanting to do that, to get what we needed done and have both of us feel it was a good outcome. So thank you for doing that to both of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good comment. Okay, anyone else? Okay, Council, I need you to take action on opening the public hearing at this time.
I move that we open the public hearing.
Okay, second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Okay, the time is now yours, so if anyone wishes to comment on this particular item, you're more than welcome. Once again, step up to the mic and state your name and what city you're from.
Leanna Roadhouse, and I'm from Layton, and I own the home just to the east of this 790 lot. Can I hear what's planned and what you're doing with it? And I was told when I talked with someone at the city that they would have to put a fence in. Okay, what kind of fence? What am I going to have?
Questions to them, and I'll answer whatever the council would like.
Go ahead and state all your questions, and then we'll have them answer. So obviously, you want to know about the fence, what type of fence?
I want to know what kind of fence is going in. I want to know what building, how big the building is, if that's what's going in. Is it a building? Is there a driveway being put in? How far back does the building have to sit? I mean, it's a subdivision, so, you know, I'd like to know just what is happening.
Okay. What we'll do is we'll actually hear all the public comments, all the questions, and then answer them at once.
Okay.
So, is there anyone else? Well, that was quick and short. You're welcome to. Thank you for being here, by the way.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. My name is Robert Lindquist Jr., or Bobby Lindquist, here representing the Lindquist family and the Lindquist organization. We've been trying for a couple of years to build a maintenance shop so that we can store our equipment for the cemetery properly indoors, so it's not weathered, and that way we can move with some redevelopment of our mortuary building, some expansion inside of it that's needed to serve our community here. We love Layton City. Layton City's always supported us, and we tried to support Layton City. Our plan that Weston will show you with the building, it's a very modest building. It's not going to be occupied by lots of workers. There's not any manufacturing done there. It's strictly a storage facility that's going to be built first class with first class landscaping. That's how we operate. Thank you for having me.
One quick question, if you don't mind. Do you want to answer the fencing? Do you have a particular fence in mind?
There is a particular fence in mind. Weston might have more answers than I do. I don't remember. It's been a couple of years since we visited the fencing. We've been trying to push this through.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. Again, thank you for your patience, Bobby, and we appreciate all the support you've given the city as well. It's been great. Okay, good mutual aid there. Okay, any other questions? Okay, I'll listen to your response then.
I thought those were in here, but maybe I can take a second and populate them in there. But it would be required to have a landscape buffer around this section, so that will be a 6-foot solid fence with some landscaping on a 5-foot landscape buffer against that fence. The building is currently, as proposed, to be set back 40 feet from the right-of-way, which is currently permitted within the current ag zone, as well as it'd be permitted within the future BP zone if approved. That drive approach, and I'll see if I can get this loaded, but that drive approach doesn't sit dead center, but it's off center about here. So if you bear with me a second, I'll get these loaded and you can see that.
Don't say that and Dave will start singing. Typically this doesn't happen, so we're okay.
You're saying something?
That's just what Mike said, and I said if that's the case, you'll start. Don't say it because Dave will start singing.
Yeah. Gotta do something. Quinny's out there, he can tell us something to do.
You can tell us about your puppet show.
Yeah, you bet. Come to the puppet show. Puppet shows it's as big as Quinn. We got mallards, we got swans, we got rats.
Object.
Magic. I didn't hear it.
Maybe the history. Why don't you tell us the history of why you're doing this puppet show?
We did it 25 years ago, not the same show, but we did it for grandparents who brought their grandkids and had nothing to do.
Yeah.
So on Saturday, we held this puppet show so they could come and watch it. And it was about magic and it's got all the animals from the park in it.
Yeah, that's cool. So that's in celebration of America 250.
Yeah,
We're bringing it back.
This one's on American history, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay, I apologize for not having that loaded for you. This is the drive approach along the property, the building footprint.
Is it just mine? Are all of these wiggling? Yeah. All right, yeah. We'll look up at the top here. Okay. Does that pretty much answer the questions?
That's a
Yes,
good question.
Councilman Moore?
Thanks,
Go
Madam
ahead.
Mayor. How about lighting in the evening on the building?
Yeah, lighting's not allowed to go beyond, I mean, they can have lighting, but we basically require a lighting plan, and that light can't distribute beyond the property boundaries.
Okay, Councilman
And
Watson?
Weston, the drive approach is not a public, like they can access it from Antelope. I mean, it's not intended to be
It's not intended.
an outlet or anything like that.
No, and this will look like a maintenance building, accessory structure. I don't foresee, and Mr. Lindquist can comment on this if you would like, but I really don't foresee individuals coming to the mortuary and using that entrance because of that.
They're not creating like an outlet right between these two houses. That's
Right.
not the intent. Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, Council, I'll bring it back to you for action then. Somebody other than Zach. Yeah, you need to close the public hearing and then take action.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to close public hearing and approve ordinance 26-10, 26-11, and resolution 2626, agriculture to professional business zoning, rezone.
Perfect. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Okay, once again, I'll do a roll call vote on this. I'm going to mix it up this time. How about Councilmember Smith Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilmember Thomas?
Aye.
Councilmember Morris?
Aye.
Councilmember Bloxham?
Yes.
Councilmember Conderanos?
Aye.
Okay, there you have it. Thank you very much. That one passed. I usually say the others. All right, let's go on to item number D. This will be our last public item tonight. And once again, Weston's going to present this item for us.
Okay, before you tonight is a text amendment for the municipal code to adopt water-wise standards for new single-family homes. In 2023, Layton City adopted significant changes to the landscaping standards to promote water-efficient landscaping designs throughout the city. The key component of the proposed ordinance language was to limit turf grass and to be no greater than 35% on the front and side yard areas for single-family residential properties. At this time, the code language was adopted to strongly encourage the limitation for all single-family developments and properties to not have this requirement except for single families within the PRUD development. The ordinance proposed for you today would be to modify that and to make these 4 changes. Limitation of turf grass to no more than 35% for front and side yard areas for new single family homes. No turf grass in new residential park strips. Again, single-family homes, landscaped areas that are less than 8 feet. The allowance to use the Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District plant list, as well as other lists and resources used for plant selection in the Great Basin, and minor clarifications that are tied to formatting and definition updates to clarify, to further pursue the first 3 items that I've listed. With these changes, Layton City residents would qualify for the $2.50 Weber Basin turf buyback rebate. Currently, the residents only qualify for the $1.25 rebate. We've reviewed this ordinance with Weber Basin, and they have told us that this draft code does comply with their ordinance. On June 26th, 2026, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend, they didn't vote unanimously. There was a one-off vote, but they did vote in support of the Ordinance 26 approving the water-wise standards for single-family homes, and staff supports the recommendation of the Planning Commission.
Okay. Council, do you have any questions on this? Councilman Morse?
Thank you, Mayor. Weston, in application, how would this work for the new single-family home? Like, when is this announced to the builder that, oh, this is how the landscape needs to be?
Yeah, so...
In what part of the process?
Yeah, it's a good question. So when they have made application to go through the subdivision process, they have rights to apply the ordinances that they've made application to. So it would be applications after this date if it was approved today.
Okay. Go ahead. Did you still have one? Okay, go ahead, Councilmember Thomas.
You mentioned PRUD. That's all I heard. I don't know. I didn't get what you meant.
Sure. So currently, our landscape code requires that the PRUDs already comply with this standard.
Oh, okay. So it's okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other?
Yeah.
Councilman Bloxham?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Calendrianos had communicated with Weber Basin Water about some language, and what they said was adding language that would clearly define the restriction of turf grass in the park strips. Now, we mentioned in the work meeting that you thought it was sufficient as it is. What would, if we were to make a motion to that regard, to Councilmember Calendrianos' idea of implementing that into the ordinance, what would that say? What would we say?
Yeah, you could just request that a motion or that a statement be added that turf grass would not be allowed within any park strip.
Okay.
Or new, single family. Excuse me, and commercial. That was the component, is the commercial.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Smith Edmondson?
To clarify on that point, because this is dealing with residential currently, the way that it is stated would still allow our residents to benefit from the Weber Basin landscape reimbursement, correct?
Yes.
Without the addition of the commercial.
Yeah. Yes, the comment that Weber Basin provided was just a comment and felt like that might clarify things, but the way it's drafted right now, it still meets their standards.
And as you mentioned in the previous meeting, that we're already, you feel that what we have presently already meets that need?
Yes, we don't have any.
Is there confusion on the commercial side with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there might be a little bit of confusion on someone from the outside, but staff's the ones that typically will help people understand what does and doesn't meet code there. We don't have any park strips that are 8 feet or greater. And so having a standard that says you can't have grass in areas that are less than 8 feet generally covers it. But if we want to be more clear and state that no park strips ever, that's fine too.
And that again would be just for new construction. So
for new construction.
New residential and
new commercial.
if added new commercial.
Yep.
And would that be for commercial that's being taken over by someone else? So I sell my business and then whoever gets in there wants to put in a completely different business that's within that zone, would they then be held accountable for this new park strip turf area?
If it was a new commercial. But again, we're not requiring it. They can't do it right now anyway.
Okay.
We've already been doing that with commercial. Any new commercial that comes in, park strips are smaller than 8 feet, they're doing waterwise.
And then my last question, and maybe, Mike, you can help answer this. Just curious if the dissenting vote during the Planning Commission, if they gave reason for what their dissent was. I'd just be curious to know that.
Yeah, I mean, and Mike can comment on it too, but I'll tell you the component that I am aware of. The individual specifically was honed in on another part of the ordinance. There is a section of the code that states, and I'll just read it here, to prevent mulch from spreading onto sidewalks and onto street areas, bark, wood mulch, and pea gravel or similar rock mulch less than a minimum sorting size of 1 inch shall not be allowed. So they focused on that and said it's hard to measure bark in that parameter and that it should be classified as 1 inch minus for gravel and not classified bark that way. The distinction was understood, but it wasn't included in the motion, and he didn't recommend approval. The assumption is because of that. I don't know if you have any more comments on that.
You accurately described that. It was strictly with the rock that he had the concern. Didn't want the mulch to be included in the 1 inch or larger category.
Okay. Any other questions?
Can't measure more.
Okay, council, I'll go ahead and, excuse me. We need open, Don't confuse me. We still have to hear from the comment from our public. So, council, I need a motion to open our public comment.
Consider myself public.
I move that we open up the public hearing on this item.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. We'll now hear from our public who wishes to comment on this particular item. Go ahead, sir.
Roger Lambert, Layton. Actually, I just have a question because I'm curious. So the East Ridge development was broken up into multiple phases. And in the early phases, they put in turf grass and everywhere. The later phases, as the drought worsened, some of us started putting in other things and got in a fight with the HOA. And I'm just curious how this would affect multi-phase developments at all, if it would, and B, if we could make, or if you as a city council could make clear to the various HOAs in the area, what they're allowed to be picky on and what is overruled by city law, because I don't, at least it wasn't clear to us and the HOA. So, okay. Some thoughts. Thanks.
I could speak to the first one. So it kind of goes back to that component of when people make application. So when a subdivision comes in, they typically will do a preliminary, and that will show all phases. At the time of that application, that's the point that we're looking at. So there might be multiple phases that are still coming in from other subdivisions that have been grandfathered into this allowing for grass. East Ridge is one of those, but as you could, sometimes developers will just choose to start doing water-wise because it is beneficial. Obviously, sometimes they don't, but that's the marker is at the application phase.
Okay, thank you. Regarding your HOAs, the city doesn't have any jurisdiction over them. Your laws or your rules that you govern your HOAs really is conducted by your homeowners association. You elect your folks to kind of carry on.
I've been on an HOA board, but the HOA still has to abide by city regulations.
Yeah, if I could just
Go ahead.
So anything, it's basically the same answer that you just heard from Weston, that anything moving forward, they wouldn't receive permits or anything on anything moving forward because a new ordinance would apply. An HOA can't trump that ordinance. There are certain things within HOAs that HOAs, the mayor's correct, that the mayor has its own ability to regulate in ways that cities don't. But with regard to this landscaping in particular, it would be everything moving forward.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments? Okay, council, I'll bring it back to you for action to close the public hearing and take action on this item.
Madam Mayor, I move that we close the public hearing and approve ordinance 26-16 for the water-wise standards text amendment for single-family dwellings.
Do you want to add in the addition? Okay.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make an amendment to motion, whatever.
No, ordinance 26-16.
Ordinance 26-16. I'd like to make an amendment that we add language to eliminate all turf in park strips and to clarify the 1 inch minus only affects rock products. Clint, did I do good enough on that?
Yep, that was good.
Okay. Do you accept that?
I'll accept that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, council, I need a second.
Second.
Okay. Now I'll go ahead and take a roll call vote on this. Excuse me. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there was an additional part of your motion, Mike, about the rock?
1 inch minus to define it.
The 1 inch minus only pertains to the rock product.
You good? I still see a doubt. That's the only.
Just to be clear, I think what he's saying is that the person that voted against, it's supporting that position.
If I can, I'll read that section of code again.
Yeah, I would just like to get staff's opinion because I'm in favor of the ordinance as it is with the addition from the Weber Basin Water, but I would like to get your opinion maybe on that additional.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll read this again and I'll give you some thoughts. So it says to prevent mulch from spreading onto sidewalks or street areas, bark, wood mulch, and pea gravel or similar rock mulch less than a minimum sorted size of 1 inch shall not be allowed in the park strip or adjacent to the street or sidewalk. This has been functioning for us. It's not been difficult for us to explain this to residents. We've not had any issues with clarifying that they can't put small enough pieces. There is bark that is larger, and that's the intent of this, is to allow larger pieces but not small pieces that can blow into the park strips. It's not a bad clarification. I don't think it moves the needle, and it's been functioning just fine, but from my opinion.
Okay, so where we sit right now is there is a motion and an amendment to it, so we need to vote on the amendment.
Madam Mayor, may I ask a clarifying question?
Absolutely.
I don't know what was it 1 minus?
1 inch.
1 inch.
Yeah, 1 inch minus.
1 inch minus. What is 1 inch? What is the?
Yeah, so typically in gravel, all of them aren't going to be the same, right? But they generally will say they're about 1 inch minus, so a little bit,
just
a little smaller.
Thank you.
Okay.
Not a landscape.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
Just to be clear, I just want to make sure everybody's clear what, and maybe even me, to understand what the motion is. So based on what Weston has said, there was a discussion about the bark and that was a concern for one planning commissioner, but there was not a motion made to address that. And then the planning commission voted almost unanimously, all but one vote, to support the ordinance as it's been presented tonight. The motion that's been made tonight approves the landscaping ordinance as proposed, but also with that one planning commissioner's concern addressed. Is that correct? Is that what you intended, and is that what everybody understands?
Yes, and
then the turf grass part.
The turf grass and no park strip.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's eliminating the turf in the park strip, as well as clarifying you can't have rock less than 1 inch minus. Yeah, so eliminating pea gravel in that area. That's what's before you right now. So, once again, I'll bring it back to the amendment. We need to vote on the amendment. Do I have a second on that?
Second. I already gave a second.
Oh, excuse me. All right, thank you. Okay, so there was questions. So now we'll vote on it. So I'll go ahead and call for a vote. And I'll start with Mr. Calenderanos.
Aye.
Okay, Councilmember Smith Edmondson.
Aye.
Councilmember Thomas.
Aye.
Councilmember Bloxham.
Yes.
Okay, and Councilmember Morris.
Aye.
Okay, there you have it. Thank you, you guys. This has been a long meeting. I appreciate it. That concludes our public. Oh, wait. Did we did not close the public hearing on that item. Sorry.
Did I not close the public hearing?
I don't know. Did we, Kim, when she made that motion? I don't remember hearing it.
I have something here at 9:09.
Okay, good. We'll acknowledge that then. Sorry. I just want to make sure I'm covering all the bases because it's been a long one. Okay. Knowing that concludes our public hearing and the last item on our agenda, if there's no other unfinished business, I'll recognize a motion to adjourn.
I don't see any unfinished business, so I move that we adjourn.
Okay. I have to have a second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
You can say aye. You've been here long enough tonight. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you for those that stayed through the whole meeting. And again, I hope that you can see that this council is willing to listen and take all considerations in all their decisions. So thank you and have a good evening.